for Blumpkin&Friends, starring your host, the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin.
You like that? You like that?
Hey kids, I'm the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin, and with me here today is my friend,
Nohnny.
Welcome back. This is your third appearance.
Indeed.
You're getting up there. Only certain people get on multiple times.
All right, feel special.
It also helps because you were available. So, via a technicality. The last time you were here, months ago, and you told me a hilarious story in my kitchen, which I was like, fuck, why didn't we save that for the episode? So we'll get to it here in a little bit. And it drastically changes the fact that we were going to add on to your previous appearance, but now it's just going to be a whole new episode. So today we are discussing bad neighbors. Everyone has them. Everybody loathes them. Some people love them because they come up with so many fun stories to tell other people, which is why I would like to share some of mine, and Nohnny will share some of his.
That is correct.
I have bad neighbor stories going all the way back to when I was like 7 years old.
That's a long list you have there then.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 topics. Some of them I've alluded to on the show before. There's this guy that lived next door to my parents for a number of years, from the late 80s to the mid 90s. He was a total partier and a cokehead. And he fixed cars, so there was always a shit ton of cars in the driveway, and it drove my mom nuts. It actually, in hindsight, makes my mom look like the bad neighbor, because she was the one who was calling the cops on him for stupid, petty bullshit.
You son of a bitch!
And I just remember she's like, well, I mean, take a look at him. He looks fried with his long hair and his holes in his jeans, and it looks like he's always got sores by his nose. At the time, as a kid, I did not know what that meant. But he liked to party with the booger sugar.
I gotcha. He knows how to party then, huh?
He does, and he was always blasting like hair metal out the windows of his house, which now I'd be like, wow, I wish I could go back in time and fucking hang out with Todd, because he was awesome.
Yeah, that's the kind of music that we're listening to in high school a lot, too.
Yeah, he used to fucking blast a ton of Rat and Bon Jovi and Motley Crue.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
No, and for some reason, he was really big on the Young Guns 2 soundtrack.
I'm not too familiar with that, but I can imagine how it goes.
Well, it was a Western, and it was a sequel to a movie they made with Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland, and Lou Diamond Phillips. So they made the sequel, and then John Bon Jovi got the rights to the soundtrack, and they wanted to use the song Wanted, Dead or Alive. And he's like, no, I'll write you some new shit. So he wrote one of the greatest Bon Jovi songs ever, Blaze of Glory.
All right, yep, I gotcha.
You know that song?
Oh, I do, yeah.
It's a fucking sweet song. So Todd would always blast that, and then the song Billy Get Your Guns. I don't know why he was so big on that track. So there was a number of times when my mom thought things were going on over there when they weren't. So like I said, she's always calling the 5-0 on him.
Maybe your mom's a druggy, paranoid neighbor lady instead of him, but I can totally see her doing that.
He was a druggie, but like a party druggie, not like a dangerous druggie. Like you don't have to worry about his house exploding from a clandestine meth lab in the garage.
That's always nice.
Maybe one of his air compressors might malfunction and shoot some nails somewhere, or just, you got like the air ratchet going. But that was it. One time in particular, I don't know what the fuck the deal was. I was outside, and he sees me. He's like, why don't you go back in the house? I'm like, what? And he's pissed. He got into a fight with my mom about something earlier in the day. So he's taking it out on me. And it sounded like he walked over and kicked the side of our house. So my mom immediately called the cops, and they're out there, and they're looking for cracks in the hardwood siding, and there were none. And junior deputy me, I'm out there like, well, what about this? Is that a crack? Do you think that's a break? And the cops are probably like, shut the fuck up and go back in the house. He never worked out, but he was crazy ripped, which I think is from just partying and not eating. And here's where it gets hilarious. He used to sunbathe in the front yard in a Chase lounge wearing only a banana hammock.
That is not a good visual right now that I got going on in my head.
Like you roll by on a bicycle and there's a dude with just underwears on, sunning himself.
I can totally see my grandpa doing something like that.
He always had like 2 or 3 roommates, and they were all big, teased up, haired 80s rocker dudes, and there were always chicks over there. His fucking life had to be pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I'm jealous in retrospect. I wish that was my life back then, not just going to school. So although he seemed like a bad neighbor then, he really was not that bad of a neighbor. And years later, he started dating a chick with a kid, and he totally settled down.
All right, at least he got his shit straight then.
Yeah, he got rid of all his roommates, and it was just him and this chick who, by 80s standards, was pretty fucking good looking and would not wear a bra, like, ever.
Nice.
And, like, little fucking belly shirts.
That's not bad when you're 8 to 10 years old.
Right. So it went from, like, his house was the party house, and it reminded me of The Cave with Kiefer Sutherland and the rest of the vampire guys and Lost Boys. It was all those type of dudes.
Yep, I got you.
And that was just him and this chick who had a bunch of miscarriages.
Oh.
Kind of ended on a downer. And then across the street from him, and one house over, there was these 3 kids, and I would play with them, and their dad was a dink, and their mom was the mom who would wear the Garfield nightgown t-shirt that I reference so often. She's the reason I have that as a part of my vernacular.
So, like, her shirt would, like, go down to her knees so you couldn't tell if she was wearing shorts or anything underneath it, and just...
It was a nightgown t-shirt. It was purple, and it had pink stripes around the sleeves, almost like a football jersey, and on the front was Garfield in his bed with a speech bubble that said, "I hate Mondays."
That's totally 80s right there.
But she'd wear it every day, so it's I don't get why it would just be "I hate Mondays," and then she'd wear it till like 2, 3 in the afternoon. He'd go to work all day at the railroad, and then he'd come home to his 3 shitty kids and her just barely having washed her ass. But he was a bitch because anytime he was mad at my mom, he would take it out on me. He'd be like, "Why don't you go home?" He'd like send me home. Not even for things I did.
What a dick.
Yeah. And when my mom was running for city council, one year he put up a sign of the opposing candidate just to be an asshole.
That's a pretty dick move right there, if you can do anything.
Yeah, God damn. I took 2 pieces of copper piping out of the garage once that were maybe like 4 feet long each and dragged them over to the house. And me and one of his sons, we were jousting, like on American Gladiators. And I accidentally hit his kid on the ankle and his kid was crying. So he sent me home. And then I come back outside and he's sitting there waiting to like make some snide comment to me. And I just hear this. "Oh, does your dad let you play with pipes?" How is that a fucking insult? I'm pretty sure he doesn't care. I mean, he makes little guns out of plastic PVC piping accessories for me, like laser guns to play with. So yeah, if you want to get technical, fuckface, he does let me play with pipes. He had a mustache not much different than your mustache.
Oh, nice. Pretty cool guy then, if you ask me.
Well, yeah. But he had some crazy, just B.J. Thomas 70s hair to go with it.
Right on, I
got you. Very free-flowing and dark black and these fucking glasses. He was a nerd. And just a bitch. "Why don't you go home?" All right. One other time, we had this bully that lived in our cul-de-sac named Brandon. And I got sick of him fucking with me one day. So I basically kicked his ass. I started punching him and kicking him. And then I knocked him over and was kicking him in the back. I was mean. I was a mean little kid because people were always fucking with me.
Well, yeah, you can only handle so much, you know.
So I'm kicking Brandon's ass, and this girl he knows from school had gone by 10 minutes prior, and he made some snide comment about me in front of her that might have started to lead to the pushing match that led to the fight. So she comes walking back, and she sees me. She's like, "Stop! Don't do that! He's not hurting you!" And I'm like, "Shut up! He hurts me all the time." And then I go back in the house, and my dad's like, "Why would you do that? Why were you beating him up?" I'm just like, a man's got to do what a man's got to do.
Laying down the law, huh?
My dad tells me that story. He's like, "And then I asked you what you did to him, and you said that you knocked him over and kicked him a bunch of times, and then you got up in his face." And this is my dad quoting me. "You said, I stuck my thumb in his eye, and I pushed and I pushed and I pushed." I tried to blind a kid at 7 years old.
I've never gotten into a fight that bad. I got into a lot of fights growing up, but nothing where there was like anything like that. I didn't try to blind someone or maim them or anything.
You're, well, you had an older brother. I didn't, so.
Yeah, he didn't care about me. He was the one that would pants me in gym class in front of our whole class.
Shut up. I didn't know about that.
Yep, he did that once.
What grade were you in?
4th or 5th grade.
So your brother just came into gym class and pantsed you?
Yeah, he was in, 7th grade, I think, at that point. And
Yeah.
we had gym class, and we were getting ready to start gym, and his class was, like, over on the other side of the makeshift wall, because they always split the gym into halves.
Yeah.
And
We didn't
when he
have one of
walked
those
in, they just...
segmented hard metal folding walls they do now. We had a big curtain that came down from the ceiling.
Yeah, like a movie theater curtain, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was, yeah.
And then he comes around and what? Like he just snuck up on you?
He just snuck up behind me and right in front of everyone, yeah.
Shorts or shorts and underwear?
No, my underwear stayed up, luckily.
Oh, God.
I'd have gotten a lot of guys jealous in 5th grade.
Look at all these pubes, huh? How about that? Oh, God. That's hilarious. I didn't know your brother did that. I'm also glad I didn't have an older brother then.
Yeah, he was pretty mean sometimes to me, but well, I got him back a few times.
It's time for another good idea, bad idea with I and Mike. Good idea. Spending a Friday night with friends to laugh about old times. Bad idea. Spending another Friday night staked out in the parking lot of the local curved gym. Keeping a close eye on your ex-wife because you know she's totally banging the Zoom instructor guy. That's not fucking cool. I'll knock his goddamn block off. I'll bite his ear. I'll fucking do it. I don't care. I'm nuts. I'm crazy. Good idea. Paying bills on time to avoid having your balance taken over by a collection agency. Bad idea. Purposely not paying your bills so that they send a repo guy to your house to take your car, in hopes that he'll want to fight so you can prove how tough you are, that you still got it, and that you steal the chip. I'll fucking do it. I'll knock his block off. I'll bite his ear. I don't care. I'm crazy.
You're listening to Blumpkin&Friends.
That Brandon kid that used to bully me, used to push me off my bike, and one time we had what was, air quotes here, a sandbox at the end of the cul-de-sac.
Yep.
It was just a patch of sand where the grass wouldn't grow.
It wasn't like a homemade sandbox or anything.
No.
It was just a, all right, I got
There's
you.
a naturally occurring just rectangle of sand that the kids would walk through to get to the elementary school down the street. And I was flicking sand at his shoes. So if you do that again, I'm going to throw sand in your eyes. And
So you did it again,
So
obviously.
I did it again because I don't know when to stop. And then he fucking threw sand in my eyes, and that shit hurts. So then I blindly threw a handful of sand back in his direction and got him too.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So we're both rubbing our eyes and crying, and my dad comes around and picks me up. And I remember his dad yelling, like, "What the hell's going on?" Because his dad was like a big drunk piece of shit that really wouldn't leave the house or the driveway. He just would stand there with his beer and fucking shout shit at people. So my dad gets me in the house, and he's pouring water in my eyes, and he's asking me what happened. I'm telling the story. He's like, "Why didn't you stop then?"
Because I backed down from no one.
That was before the beating him up thing. The beating him up was like so many years and months of pent-up rage, especially from the sandbox incident. And that was just like, that was my first foray into standing up for myself. I think I'd gotten into some shoving matches, but that was the first time I really beat on somebody. And it definitely wasn't the last. Because do you remember...
Oh, yeah, yep.
She was a smoke show. She always looked older than she really was.
Yep.
Dated guys like 3-4 years older, her poor mom. So she had two older brothers. One was kind of a badass, and the other one was just kind of a dickhead, and he was the middle child. So he used to tease me incessantly, too. And I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but I figured one day I would wait for him to come home from school, because he got kicked out of where we went to elementary school, and he ended up going to the public school that was a block and a half away from home. And I sat there and laid behind the tall grass on the tree line separating two streets. And then I slowly crept up behind him and started beating him in the back with an aluminum baseball bat that I had been holding on to.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so I hit him, and then he turned around to... I must not have hit him very hard, because he turned around to beat my ass, and I booked it. I got about 5 or 6 good shots into his back and one to the back of his head.
Damn, dude, that's...
So there's my neighbor from across the street from us, who I later ended up working at his grocery store when I was 15. He's like, "What are you doing? You beat him with a bat?" I'm like, "Well, he's always making fun of me and teasing me and stuff." He's like, "So you use a bat?" I clearly had some unresolved anger issues at a young age. They should have fucking stuck me in karate.
Yeah, take it out on him, I guess, legally, whatever. Yeah.
Well, to my knowledge, his parents never contacted my parents about it, because I probably would have got my ass beat. And I kept waiting and waiting, not just for days or weeks, but months and 2 years until they moved away, for him to finally get his revenge. Never happened. He never fucked with me again.
Good.
Yes, but no, because I always had that weird deep-seated fear in the back of my mind that he was going to sneak up on me in similar fashion, and I wasn't going to be as lucky as he was to just shake it off and go chasing after him, that I'd probably end up in the fucking hospital.
Yeah, if someone comes after me with a metal baseball bat from behind, laying and waiting, that's pretty much enough for me to quit fucking with them right there.
I'm about making strong statements.
Apparently so.
What about in your guys' neighborhood? Because you lived up in Andover, right by the bungalows, as we called them.
Yep, just down the street from us, yeah.
And those are just like, were they Section 8?
They had to have been. The people that lived there were just, like, dirt poor. They didn't have any money. Their parents were always gone. There tons of drugs down there.
Fuck. So, what stories you got about any bungalow kids? Because I feel like they're a special breed.
Well, I used to get my cigarettes from them when I was in 4th and 5th grade.
You started smoking in 4th grade?
3rd grade, technically.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's been a while.
No wonder you always stayed so skinny.
But yeah, I was smoking pot in 7th grade. You think that'd add some weight onto me, but I never really got the munchies from that, I guess.
No. And you never became like the painter that you should have been.
Nope, I am definitely not an artist at all. No way.
Didn't make you write special songs or see funny colors and devise a masterpiece.
I used to get in fights with some of my neighborhood kids too, but I always had brass knuckles, so... Yeah, my brother, one good thing about my older brother, he gave me a set of brass knuckles to go fight with.
So
he's
like, I'm not going to fight for you, but here, figure it out.
Yep, pretty much, yeah.
That's almost better than having him beat people's asses for you. Because then they might be like, oh, I'm not going to fuck with him because his brother's going to beat my ass again. But then they might also come back with, well, your brother fights your battles for you, pussy.
Yeah, exactly. So they know I have brass knuckles, they're not going to come after me. They were like the ones that had dollar signs on the knuckles too, so you punch them in the forehead, they got dollar signs like punched into their forehead.
How many times did you use those?
I only used them 3 or 4, but everybody knew I had them, so that's why a lot of people didn't want to mess with me around the neighborhood.
Did your folks know?
Oh, no, hell no. They'd have kicked my ass if they'd have found that out.
Well, how'd you get away with beating on people with them and not getting in trouble for it?
We just get into fights and we'd leave it all in the field. We wouldn't go home and complain to our parents about it. Our parents were never around. We'd go down to the baseball park or the other park that's a couple blocks away.
I had this married couple. Once the dude that would always send me home moved away with his kids, we got a young married couple with a baby that moved in there. And he worked for MnDOT, and she was a stay-at-home mom that would always just wear almost like nighty-style pajamas around all the time. And they had this fucking dog, this little Shih Tzu named Sugar. And Sugar was constantly getting off the leash. So she'd be like, will you help me go catch Sugar? You thought they would have just like built a cage for her or gotten a better leash. But no matter what they tried, that fucking dog would get loose. Sometimes it would be dragging a goddamn, you know those like triangular spiral spiked into the ground things for holding a leash?
Yeah, that's what I got for my dog.
Yeah, she would yank that out of the ground and be dragging it down the block with her.
And maybe they should screw it in a little further then.
Or to the fucking tree instead of the dirt.
Yeah, I guess that too.
Because it was screwed into the dirt underneath this awesome climbing tree that me and the kids that were previously living there used to go up in pretty high, which is weird because I hate heights. But so Sugar would get loose. We had a neighbor the next street over that was an ugly 50-something-year-old lesbian, and she looked like John Denver's uncle. She was not attractive by any measure. I don't know how the hell she got girlfriends. It was definitely an LPGA house.
Sounds like my neighbor lady.
Yeah. So one time I'm trying to catch Sugar. She's like, I'm sick of this shit. You need to get your goddamn dog on a leash. I'm sick of that little son of a bitch. I'm like, don't swear at me. It's not even my dog. I'm catching it for my neighbor lady to be nice. Then I went home and told my mom, and who called the lady who denied even swearing at me.
Dog sucker!
But if you walked even one step onto her driveway, she's one of those types. If she would sit on her front step and watch the public school kids come walking by at the end of the day, and if they went too close to her driveway, her flower bed, or her mailbox, she would raise high holy hell. It's like she just lived to fucking rain on other people's parades.
Yeah, she didn't like work or anything. She was just always just hanging out.
I don't know. Stoop. I don't know when she worked or what she did, or maybe she was one of the first people to corner the market on dyke fisting videos, and she sold them from her house. I don't know. I don't think she still lives there. Or maybe she does. I'd be tempted to go knock on the door and be like, hey, are you the same lesbian that's always lived here for like 30 years? You've aged well. Just checking. And, yeah, gosh, she was so fucking mean. And that stupid dog, I swear, almost got me kidnapped one time.
The dog almost got you kidnapped.
She was walking around the block. She was doing laps around the block, just running. Just having a fucking gay old time running. I bet you the dog weighed 5 or 6 pounds. So I'm chasing her, and I jumped off my bike to catch her, and I missed. So this car pulls over with these 2 dudes that are like in their 30s or 40s. She's like, oh, hey, you want some help catching your dog? It could just be the fact that we grew up with the Jacob Wetterling case and the paranoia that comes with being in the burbs around these parts after that went down. But yeah, there was something sketchy with those dudes. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I don't need any help. Go away.
So said it was a car, so it wasn't the van with no windows on the side, just the 2 like little blacked out panels on the back is all it had.
Yeah, it was just a car.
Just a car? All right.
Like a hatchback with 2 dudes. And I'm thinking, why would 2 dudes that are grown-ups want to help a fucking 11-year-old boy catch a dog? Oh, God. They wanted to put things in my butt. At least that's what I thought.
We got some candy for you if you want it.
Yeah.
We'll just go buy you a new puppy. We got one at our place.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Hey, Gabagool, get up off the couch and get your culo in shape. I'm Fabrizio, and this is my brother Astudio. In case you were wondering, he doesn't talk. When he was 5 years old, he had an accident with a wiffle ball bat that left him with a slight discomfort but a profound fear of flapping his gums. We are the proprietors of the Caglione Brothers Hard Body Boot Camp, and we want to help you get into the best shape that a handful of unmarked bills in a non-sequential order can achieve. We own the premier fitness facility in St. Louis Park. We are located at the corners of West 29th Street and Jersey Avenue South. It's actually just a park, and we mainly hang out there to meet strange, flexing with our shirts off and stuff glistening in the midday sun, but we will totally dedicate the 3rd Saturday of every month to helping anyone, and I mean anyone, who's willing to pay us to teach them basic calisthenics in an effort to help them get the body they've always dreamed of. Call us today at 612-438-4273. That's 612-GET-HARD.
You're listening to Blumpkin&Friends.
The more I review these stories, the more it's like, I was the bad neighbor because I was always pulling shit.
Yeah, we'd go egg houses and done quite a few of those. We did one with the people just watching us out their front window even, too. And it's the neighbors right across the street from where we live, too.
Well, that's not smart.
Yeah, I didn't think that one through, but...
Did you get caught?
Yeah. We had to go clean it up for him. Dude was like an angry old man, and he wasn't too happy with us, but whatever.
What you don't know is while he was watching you, he was also masturbating below the windowsill line.
I do not want to think about that.
He used to watch you shoot hoops and play with his balls from behind the curtain.
I do not want to think about that because I played a lot out in our front yard growing up.
Right, and he thanks you. Well, I did have one definitive, there's no question whatsoever, set of bad neighbors that lived behind my folks for a while. It was the second family that ever lived there, and they lived there for 12 or 13 years. They had 5 or 6 kids, and all their sons were shitheads. 1 or 2 of their sons have been through my facility before. The one son that has been through my facility a couple times, I asked him if he remembered this, and we pal around when he's in there. It's like talking like old times. People are like, oh, you guys grew up together? Like, well, we lived next door to each other. We didn't know each other then, but now as we're adults, we're swapping stories, so it's helped us kind of reconnect. His 2 older brothers, hopped our backyard fence because they lived behind us, and they were trying to kick cigarette ashes into a pile of leaves to start a pile of my mom's old campaign signs on fire. Now, why they were trying to do this, I'll never know.
Probably just for something to do.
Yeah, so I noticed it and I yelled for my dad, and he goes out there with some other family friend. I think it was the father of some kid I played basketball with for years. And they go out there. So my dad chases him back over the fence. And my dad starts screaming at the guy. And my old man was in rare form that day. My dad said, if I ever catch you on my side of the fence again, I'll rip your balls off and feed them to you.
Holy shit.
I was like, wow.
I can see your mom saying something like that, but as far as I know from your dad, he was always pretty laid back.
That's the thing. He has this quiet rage that builds up and he internalizes it until it explodes like a pressure cooker. He goes off like a backpack at the Boston Marathon. Imagine if the old guy across the street had taken time to stop playing with himself to scream at you like that.
I would have quit fucking around with this house, that's for damn sure.
No shit, and guess what? They stopped fucking around with our house. Now, we're getting to the point here where I want you to tell the story that you told me last time. We're just going to act like I don't know any of the details. And this is up north where you live.
Yep, up in Ely.
And this is still your neighbor?
Yep, she still lives below me. Yep. So I live in a house that's divided up into 4 apartments. Like, each level is a completely different apartment. Mm-hmm. I'm on, like, the main level. There's a lady that lives up above me. And there's another person that lives up on the very top floor. But my neighbor lady, we'll call her Laura for the sake of the show.
Okay.
She lives down below me. And these floors that we have and the walls are super thin. Because, like I said, the house was made, like, in 1910.
Jesus.
1905, 1910, somewhere way back when. So you can hear, like, conversations that people are having, like, from above you and below you. You can tell, like, when their alarm clock's going off, what they're watching on TV, what they're listening to for music if they have it up, like, slightly loud. So this lady, she's one of the most disgusting women I have ever met in my life.
How old is she? If you were to estimate?
I think she's, like, 55, but she looks like she's about 70. And she's, like, constantly hacking up and... Like, in the morning, she wakes up constantly. It's fucking annoying as hell. And I can hear her sometimes going to the bathroom. Like, you can tell when she lets out, like, a good deuce, because she'll be like, oh. It's actually kind of funny, but it is pretty disgusting at the same time.
Can you hear diarrhea through the walls?
I can't hear from any of my neighbors. I've not been able to yet, but...
I don't care how sick this makes me sound. If I knew I could hear diarrhea through the walls, I would sit in my bathroom and wait to hear the diarrhea through the ceiling or the floor.
And just start laughing and be like, what, do you have something bad to eat last night?
I know, I would just start laughing and not say anything because instead of talking to them, laughing lets you know that they can hear you, and that makes them more uncomfortable. Like if you're in a public restroom, have you ever heard somebody try to quietly get diarrhea?
Yeah, I've been there. I've done that.
You're trying to just wait for the right moment to let it go when you think someone's gone. And then you just let it all out, and then you hear their shoes squeak or something. Like, fuck.
Damn it, they were there the whole time. I thought they left one of those deals.
Which is why you should always sit down, and right when you think you're about to blow that first gasket of shit to come spilling out, you flush the toilet so that they can't hear it.
All right, see, I'm afraid of the spray coming up, though, if I flush it when I'm sitting on it.
Nah, you're fine. What would you rather have? A random person laughing right there, making you self-conscious about a diarrhea that is only just started? Or a little bit of water on your butt that you can wipe off?
Honestly, if they laugh at me for having, I don't really care. I'm not really self-conscious anymore. People think what they want to about me, and I'm not going to stop that. So I could really give a shit, to be honest with you.
Scenario, hypothetical. You walk into the bathroom at Target on the way and see some super hot chick standing there. You go in and you have this loud diarrhea. And there was another guy at the urinal when you come in. When you come out, he's standing there laughing with his girlfriend, and he points at you, and then she starts laughing at you. And now the super hot chick knows you just had a disgusting diarrhea. You still don't care?
No.
What?
Honestly, I really don't.
Good for you. I'd be like, fuck.
I used to back in the day, but it's like, if she's that good looking, I have no chance with her anyway. So it don't matter.
Know.
Especially with a mustache like this, she probably just thinks I'm a child molester or porn star straight from the 70s. It's pretty thick, so...
I suppose because of school you can't grow it downward.
No, they can't go past the corners of your mouth. And you can't have any beard, no sideburns, no goatee.
Well, if there was ever a reason to wish for Bell's palsy, you could have a much longer mustache.
Yeah.
Facial droop. So back to the scuzzy neighbor. Is she like a hoarder or a cat lady, or what's her deal?
Yeah, she's definitely a cat lady. I think she's a hoarder. She told one of my neighbors that lives up on the top, because he was going to school with me at the time, she told him that she has a compost in her basement down there. Like a food compost.
Ew.
Yeah, that is pretty nasty. And then you can, sometimes if like the wind catches her windows right and their windows are open, you get a whiff of it too.
God, is it in a Rubbermaid tote or like a wooden box? Or what
I
the
have
fuck?
no idea. I don't want to talk to this lady because she's that bad.
I'd tell the landlord. That's disgusting.
He don't care. She's like the caretaker of the apartments too.
Ah, for
so she doesn't, yeah, she never works. She doesn't, there's one day she got locked in her apartment for 3 days because the lock, like on her back door broke, and she tried to climb out through a window and it fell on her head. That's pretty funny, dude.
What the fuck?
So she's like, fuck it, I'm just going to sit in here for 3 straight days.
How the fuck did she get out?
I don't know. I didn't even ask her because there's another time she told me like the water heater went out in her apartment on the top floor when she was living at the top floor at that time, so she couldn't shower for 3 straight months. Couldn't take a shower, couldn't bathe. And I don't know,
Ew.
I'm hoping she might have at least gone to a lake, but she doesn't have a car. So
Or taking a washcloth out of the sink and at least
or do something.
give yourself a whore's bath. Ew.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. She came and knocked on my door one day, like, it must have been about a year ago. I've been living at this place for almost 2 years now. It was about a year ago, and she came and knocked on my door, like, asking me for, like, cigarettes or something, because she had no money and she was broke. So I gave her a couple cigarettes, and it was like an hour and a half later, I went to go outside to go smoke myself, because I don't smoke inside my apartment. Mm-hmm. I don't like the smell of, like, cigarette smoke in my clothes, even though I do smoke, which is kind of ironic, but yeah, she went, like, out the front door, then I left, and, like, there's, like, the little common entryway, and I could still smell her, like, an hour and a half to 2 hours after she left that area. It was pretty pungent still, too.
So now that we've painted the picture of how nasty she is, now it's time for the main event. The part of the fucking story that's the real clincher that had me dying laughing in the kitchen. And now, story time.
Okay, so I know people can hear what I'm watching on TV. I try to be respectful of other people, so I have my TV turned, like, super low, so I don't, like, bother them or anything. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting on my couch watching TV one day, and she was partying. She had some other guy over, and they were talking and back and forth, and they had some music on. You know, you could tell that they were drinking. So, like, out of nowhere, it's like 10 o'clock at night. Like, she, like, turns off the music. Then I hear her go, "What are you doing?" Then the guy responds back, "I'm trying to pleasure you." And I'm like, I could barely hold it. And I was, oh my God, I wanted to laugh so hard. But then I thought about her. I'm like, oh, that is disgusting. And I'm like, if you got to ask that question to him, he's obviously doing something totally wrong in that circumstance.
Or she hasn't had it for that long, she's almost forgotten how people initiate sexual contact.
Because, like, after she's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm trying to pleasure you." It was like maybe 10 seconds later, and hear anything. Then she goes, "Go lay down over there on my bed." Then I didn't hear anything for literally only 2 minutes. Then she goes, "Oh, you got some in my eye." Oh my God, that was cringing so bad. I'm like, all right, I'm turning my TV back up. I don't want to hear any more of the shit that's going on.
So that begs the question, had he not had his dick touched in that long, or is she just that good at giving BJs?
That's exactly what I was thinking about, too.
Fuck. You start to gamble, like, maybe if I get her to hop in the shower with me, and we clean her up nice, and then I get one of these rock star Bajowskis from her.
No, it would not be worth it. No, if you saw this lady, you would understand what I am saying. It is not worth it.
Is that the only time you've heard her getting down?
I think so, yeah. I try not to, I don't know. I'm always gone. I'm never home. I'm home for like 6 hours a night to sleep pretty much, and that's it.
You're lucky, because I had next door neighbors in the apartment I lived at, and I had this dirty old guy, Bob, and his wife that would have like domestics where she'd scream at him and slam doors and shit, and their son was half retarded and looked like Eric Cartman. So then once they moved out, it was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. And these 2 fucking young couples moved in. They were like barely 20. And I used to listen to this ugly bald dude that looked like a cancer patient and his fucking girlfriend that had jacked up teeth. I used to hear them fuck all the time through my living room wall because it butted up to their bedroom. So I was sitting there on the couch fucking rocking the juice to sleep because she was an infant. And I could hear her like, First off, I don't know who moans like that. Because then I'm like, fuck, is he really good? Or does she just have a giant G-spot? Or
She's
are they
just faking it.
fucking with me? I used to pound on the goddamn walls. One time I almost fucking slammed the butcher knife through that wall, knowing that they'd see it come out the other side and know that I meant business.
Yeah, I'd be doing the same thing, man.
But I didn't want to lose my damage deposit. So I simply told the landlord, and they're like, well, what should... She's like, how should I word this? I'm like, tell him to stop fucking so loud. It's simple. I mean, you don't have to use those exact words, but just tell him, I'm ready to call the cops because I'm sick of them and their loud sex all the time.
Well, you got your infant there trying to put to sleep, too.
Like, I don't need to listen to her makes sounds that are similar to the whale from Free Willy. When he was sucking, he's fucking sitting there at night like, and then fucking Pacey used to be like, listen to Willie, he's lonely, he wants to get back to his pod. That's the fucking type of shit that used to come out of this woman. But all those neighbors, the rocker dude, the neighbor's dad, the lesbian, the fucking shithead kids behind me, the bully, old Bob and his wife, the fucking noisy bisexual chick that lived on the other side of my bedroom wall for a bit, and the chick was just loud and really fucking inconsiderate. And one time my girlfriend that lived with me there heard her and her girlfriend / roommate through the wall, like fucking dyking out on the couch. You could hear sex all the time in apartment buildings. None of them hold a candle to my neighbor I have now across the street. It's two brothers. One is pushing 50. The other is, I think, 42 or 3. One is perfectly normal, and I get along with him great. The other is borderline mentally retarded and is constantly annoying the shit out of everybody. Every house on this street goes out of their way to avoid him because he'll get your attention and then kiss the next 10 to 20 minutes goodbye. He'll ramble on, and you try to find a spot to interject and tell him you gotta go. No, he just keeps fucking talking. He invited me to his wedding in the backyard next year. He asked me if I want to come to his bachelor party, which I don't think that I would want to be caught with the crowd of people that would actually go to something for a guy like this. He asked me to talk to my dad about expanding their bathroom in their basement because he said they have an old shower down there, but it's not big enough for 2 people. So him and his big fat girlfriend apparently get in the shower together, or try. You know
that's the key. Try to.
So he's balding and kind of a redhead, and he's got like a man suit of androgenic hair, chest and back and shoulders. And he walks around with no shirt on in jeans in the summer a lot.
Looks like a Yeti pretty much.
Yes.
Or Bigfoot walking around.
And it's gross. And he always smells like he just got done eating sloppy joes. And then he drinks on top of it. So he tells me this story one time. He's a mile away up at the Walgreens, trying to either return or get a red box. And he's having trouble with the machine. I should also add that he has bad eyesight and needs to have surgery to get it corrected. So he walks around just almost like looking up at the sky, moving his head back and forth. You can tell he's fucked up. So he tells me that he was up there and somebody called the cops on him because they thought he was drunk.
He's not drunk. He's just an idiot.
He's not drunk. It's just the way that he talks. So I'm like, well, I guess I could see why they would think that. What do you mean? Well, if you could hear how you sound outside your own head, you kind of sound drunk all the time. How? He gets all defensive. I'm like, you slur your speech, you stutter, you fumble for words, and it always sounds like you just got done eating an entire pack of Starbursts because there's so much spit in your mouth. Hock a fucking loogie and brush your teeth. I'm like, that's why they thought you were drunk. I don't know what the deal is. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you, but it's just the way your voice comes across and your speech patterns is very similar to somebody who's inebriated.
Yeah, I know a couple people like that myself, actually. So
he goes home and tells his brother what I said. And his brother basically tells him that he was a fetal alcohol syndrome baby.
Ouch.
He's like, yeah, my brother told me that the reason I talk like this is because of my parents, but they don't know for sure because they got to test the baby and the mom at the time you're born to see if she'd been drinking. And it doesn't make any sense what he's saying, but I'm piecing it together, and I'm looking at the other brother like, I'm just like, oh.
So okay. He had like those tiny little beady eyes too?
Yeah.
It kind of looks like Bubbles, I'm sure, too.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, there's a good chance
that he
is.
He looks like Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys. He's totally an FAS baby. I'm certain of it. And this guy is talking about getting married to his girlfriend and how they want to have kids. And I don't have the heart to tell him that I don't think the government wants people like you to procreate. It might be illegal. Because there's an odd chance that kid's going to come out a lot retarded. Not a little retarded. Not like barely on the spectrum with Asperger's. This kid is going to be full-on wheelchair-stricken and have no idea what day it is or planet they're on. Kind of like my sister was. And that was because my mom got sick when she was pregnant. This is going to be because he's got some fucked up genes. So he is constantly walking around the yard swearing at himself.
It's kind of odd.
Telling me about the fights he has with his brother or his sister that lived there for a short while, who sounds very similar to the lady you were describing where you live. Just completely out there. She's an alcoholic too. They kicked her out. He's always walking his pit bull down the street, and the leash is just like a 27, 28 foot long fucking piece of rope that he almost never holds on to. He lets the dog walk with the leash dragging. And he's like, come on. Come on. I'm rocking back and forth. Picture me staring up at the sky, not looking forward. Come on. I'm almost doing like a serpentine axle rose sway right now. Come on. He just fucking shouts at people and his dog and things. And he also shovels his goddamn snow out into the street.
Maybe you just need to poop in his backyard by the fence or something.
No, I don't want to go in his backyard. I've been back there. He'll be like, hey, maybe we could trade a favor for a favor.
Whoa.
Right, I know. Trust me, he doesn't have the capacity to think of gay stuff. He wanted me to help fix a fence, and I don't know how to do that. He's like, well, you could help me fix the fence, and then, we run a lawn service. And if you ever saw him mow his lawn, the lines aren't straight. They're all fucking wavy and retarded. I'm like, I don't want you to mow my lawn, you asshole. No, you're going to kill my grass.
Are you sure he's not just a drunk?
No, he's not just a drunk.
All right.
No, he's like this all the fucking time. And one time he's shoveling his snow into the street, and I went over to yell at him about it. And this is when the Beast was pregnant with Chi-Chi. And I went over to yell at him about it. I'm like, if you throw all that snow right there in the street where you do, and it freezes overnight, and she comes home, some car could hit that slide right into the tree in your front yard by the mailboxes, and your brother's going to get sued. Not you, because you don't have any money. And best believe that if the Beast fucking hits the tree and something happens to our baby, you and I are going to tangle, and we are definitely going to make the news.
Oh, yeah.
So then he's like, fuck you. Don't tell me what. I'm like, I'll fucking call the cops. I don't even care. He's like, fucking do it then. I'm like, fine, whatever, retard. He's like, fuck you. We didn't talk for 6 months. And then he came and apologized to me, which was weird.
Yeah, after 6 months. All right, fine. Fuck, I had enough of this. I'm sorry.
It's just funny because he apologized to me. And I called him a retard. I was the insensitive one. So, we've come to the portion of the show, and it's time to play a game. And I don't think I've had you do this yet. You're on the points board for
Word Orgy,
Orgy. And I don't believe I've had you play the RPS Challenge, because in your first appearance, I reluctantly made you play Guess Who Karaoke Roulette, and you got weirded out by me singing Sugar Ray to you.
Yep.
You're welcome for that.
That was an odd moment. And,
who doesn't want to sing?
Me. I told you I wasn't going to do it.
So, you will be playing the RPS Challenge. Rock, paper, scissors. You don't have to do anything with your hands. You call out what you are going to say or pick. You'll be going up against the Juice, my 7-year-old.
I'm kind of nervous. I know she is pretty good at this.
Nah, the last 5 times she's played, she's gone 1-4. So she's
got
all right.
I thought she was way better than that.
She used to be. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Blumpkin&Friends proudly brings to you the Rock, Paper, Scissors Intercontinental Championship Challenge Championship of the World! So, that being said, RPS Challenge, Nohnny against the Juice, hand number 1.
I will go with rock.
You went rock, she went scissors.
Yeah.
Point for you. Hand number 2.
Go with scissors.
She went with a rock.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, and we are tied. Hand number 3.
I will stick with scissors.
You went scissors. The Juice went paper.
All right.
Point for you. You've got a lead going into hand number 4.
I will go with rock again.
You went with rock. She went with a scissors. So you've already won. She's been mathematically eliminated, but we need to play this out to see just how badly you're going to whoop on a 7-year-old.
I feel kind of bad now.
Nah, fuck her. Hand number 5.
I'll try paper this time.
You said paper. She said paper. That's a tie. But in your first attempt at the RPS Challenge, you went ahead and you beat my 7-year-old. Nice. Well, congratulations on beating the Juice. Everybody's beating the Juice lately.
Yeah, thank you, Reverend.
Yeah, she's like a government mule. She's just getting her ass whooped. Interact with the show on Twitter at Blumpkin Show. That is at Blumpkin Show. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/Blumpkin&Friends. I'm the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin.
I am Nohnny.
Good night.